you look at who I was fighting on my sixth fight compared to who Mike Tyson was fighting in his sixth fight, there's a very, very big difference. He boxed someone that's lost like 6-1-2 or something like that. So I guess he's just defending him because he wants to defend his own career. But I've got a lot of respect for Mike Tyson. We sat down and we literally spoke for like a good 30 minute to an hour about what's the best move in my career. And yeah, like I said, I do appreciate him a lot. But Anthony Joshua started boxing at 18. Look what I'm doing already at 18. Like, so by the time I'm his age, I want to be done and dealt with.
Charlotte Daly here with Male Sport Boxing. I'm joined by Moses Itauma. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us in your local gym. How are you doing?
I'm all good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, not too bad. I want to know a bit more about you as the person that everyone is talking about at the moment.
Me and my brothers was born in Slovakia. We lived there for a couple of years, then moved over to obviously Kent, England, and grew up here. But the thing is, I never really got to experience Chatham as a whole because my childhood was, I used to go to school, come home, I used to go to the gym, so I was never really had time to go out, play with my friends or whatever. So it's like, I guess it's paying off now.
Yeah. And so you grew up in Slovakia before moving over to Kent. How old were you before you moved over to Kent?
I was 4-year-old, I believe.
Okay. And what was the reason for deciding to come over here to be in the UK?
I feel like there's a lot of factors that played a part in it, but I feel like my mum, well, she did tell us that the main reason is because you're very limited opportunities in Slovakia. Like she said, there's more opportunities in England, so obviously we moved there and we obviously grabbed the opportunities with both hands.
Absolutely. And you said there about spending all of your time going from school to training.
Literally.
Now, what was school like for you? What sort of student were you growing up?
Until about year 8, I was very on the straight and narrow. And then I just didn't really take it serious after that. I just kind of messed around and that, had a few fights. Yeah, got into trouble a bit. But I was never, I feel like the head teachers loved me. The teachers loved me. I was never really that person to be hated. But I could say one thing, I always bullied the bullies, I guess. Me and my enforcer, Tyrone, we literally, if we just see any bullying going on, we just go up and we start picking on them type of kids. So, yeah, obviously, I was a massive kid.
What made you decide to kind of do that at that point to help those kids that potentially weren't as big as you or strong as you? Or?
Do you know what it was? Is when I was in the Europeans, and when you're young, you have. Normally in the European squads, when you're a schoolboy junior, it's just a lot of travellers. And I wouldn't say I got bullied, but I just necessarily didn't fit in. And instead of them welcome me in or whatever, they just kind of kicked me out. So obviously that's when I was in school, that's what I kind of wanted to be. I wanted to help people come together rather than, do you know what I mean, be apart.
Yeah, and I'm sure those kids will thank you for that today. You spoke there a minute ago about being much bigger than the other kids. You're 18 now and you're a fully fledged heavyweight. So what was it like kind of growing up always being bigger than the other kids?
I don't really know. I wouldn't say it had anything to do with my growing up, because even when I used to grow up, I only had one pal, Tyrone, and then the rest of them, I would kind of figure them as acquaintances. I had obviously my two brothers, they're the only people that I really needed, or my family, they're the only real people I needed, and I can say it was a blessing and a curse, because obviously when I went to the gym I always had to spar the heavyweights, and I was only 12, 13-year-old, so yeah, hopefully I still got my brains intact after my career's done.
You obviously started at such a young age. Were you fully in it straight away, or was it still kind of just a hobby and a bit of fun on the side?
I liked going down to the gym because the boys were there. We used to turn up to training 2 hours before, because we used to f around a little bit. And yeah, and it's just better being at home. It's better than being at home. Obviously, everybody knows Nigerian parents. So, my dad was Nigerian, very, very, very strict, and anything to get out of the house, really.
So you could come here, mess around with the boys,
Literally.
have some time away
Literally.
without having to go back and do all the chores or whatever it was that you were set.
Something like that, yeah.
So then, what were your parents like with you then, especially with the boxing side? Were they very supportive? Did they want you involved in boxing? Same goes for your brother, of course.
My dad, yeah, I guess my dad was supportive. Obviously, my mum was supportive as well, but my dad was more laid back, chill with it. He always used to come to all my fights, but he just never used to say nothing. He would just sit at the back and be like, that was good. That was good. But even like my last couple fights, he was like, finish it up. Because obviously I had 2 fights, so I went the distance. And he was like, if you can take him out in the first round, take him out. Finish it up. Don't waste time. So, like, I guess, yeah, he has been supportive. Both my parents are supportive, but my mum and dad never really wanted me to do boxing. My dad was always into bookwork, like most Nigerian parents are. Even like at times when we first started off boxing, my dad would be like, no, you're not going boxing until you finish your bookwork. So, yeah, I guess he wanted me to be a doctor or something. But listen, I don't blame him. Like, I don't think I'd want my kids to be boxing either.
Do you think that made you train harder and work harder in the gym? Because if they didn't necessarily want you to do it to start with, you knew, right, I have to be really good at this to get them to...
No, not really. Like I said, like I won 2 European titles and a national title, and then COVID hit, and I was still training. And it's only then I realised, like, I'm not too bad at this. You know what I mean? Like I never thought like I was any good or like I was trash. I just thought like I was just doing it because it was something to do. Like I'd rather be active than be bored.
Yeah. Okay, so there you said about the titles that you won. You finally realised that, okay, I'm good at this. You want to take it seriously. Obviously, goals to go professional at some point. What was it like committing yourself fully to boxing? Because normal people your age, or especially at that age, would have been out with their friends, or they would have been going to birthday parties, they would have been doing all the regular stuff that kids at that age do. You wouldn't have been able to do that. How kind of isolating was that?
It was, like you said, it was a little bit isolating, but I don't believe like, if you're making a better future for yourself, I don't feel like you're missing out of anything. Like, I'd rather miss out on a few parties when I was a teenager and have big parties with celebrities when I'm older than, do you get what I mean? Like swapping them around. So I just really I just knew that I'm building a bigger and better future for myself, and not only for myself, my family. So I feel like the sacrifices is made well, and I feel like, I know boxing's hard, it's a tough game, but like when I go to a shop and I see them lot like working long shifts and that, I was like, how often I would not be able to do that.
Now, your professional career started with a bang. You got a knockout within 23 seconds. That is some statement to make. Were you wanting to make a statement like that, or were you prepared to kind of go the distance within your fight?
No, you know, my first 4 fights, I'm actually embarrassed. Even when people like bring my fights up, I like turn it off. I don't even want to watch it, because it's like I could have done a lot more in them fights. Or even the opponents, like my first 2 opponents, they literally just went over like tin of cans, and I was just annoyed, because it's not what I wanted to project. I wanted to get highlight reel knockouts, and like it's only my last 3 fights I can say like, yeah, I'm happy with that. And that's what I want to bring into 2024. I want to be in big fights. Although I'm 18, I still want to deliver big fights, and I just want to give the sport of boxing something different. Like, I don't want them to always see the same. I just want them to see something different. I'll be a young man, and then obviously be an inspiration to the younger generation. Obviously I see people like the rise of Emiliano Vargas and Ashton Slive and Royston and all of us. We're all the same age. All of us was born in 2004. So yeah, we're all coming through, and I just want to be an inspiration to them younger generation. Yeah.
You said there about the fact that you weren't happy with your first couple of fights, that it's only the last 3. Now, we saw you talking with Mike Tyson on stage in Saudi Arabia on the Tyson Fury Francis Ngannou undercard. You said to him that you wanted better fights and proper fights going into 2024. Yeah. He said to you that you're never fighting a bum, that you always learn from these fights and you always pick up things from these fights. What did you make from his comments, and do you see where he's coming from?
Yeah, I do, because you can learn from every fight. There's obviously not one fight that you can't learn from, but there are bums in boxing. Like, obviously, if you go into a fight and you, like I say, my first 2 opponents, if you go into a fight and you blast them out in 23 seconds, like everyone says, you haven't learned nothing from that. And you look at who I was fighting on my sixth fight compared to who Mike Tyson was fighting in his sixth fight. There's a very, very big difference. Like for my sixth fight, I boxed someone that had like 110 lost 1. He boxed someone that's lost like 6-1-2 or something like that. So I guess he's just defending him because he wants to defend his own career. But I've got a lot of respect for Mike Tyson. Obviously, he's achieved what I want to achieve, and I never really looked up to him, but I can appreciate him because obviously he was a killer, and he trained hard, and yeah, he says he's very, very, very smart. Obviously, I listened to a lot of things that he said, and I'm gonna take it on board, but some of it you got to filter out.
And you are actually looking to break his record for being the youngest world champion. Now, it was May 2025 you'd have to win your title to be able to break that record. How doable do you think that is? I
believe, obviously, it was a lot more doable in Mike Tyson's era because obviously he never really had the promoters, the mandatories, obviously when he was about, it was Trevor Berbick, do you get what I mean? I don't want to be too brash or anything, but obviously it's a different era. But listen, even if I don't achieve it, at least I'll be up there in them talks. Like I just want to go in there full steam ahead, become obviously youngest heavyweight world champion. Listen, if it don't happen, it don't happen. Like I'm not gonna cry about it. Obviously, it's a goal, and obviously, if you don't achieve some of your goals, then you just move on to the next one.
Yeah. Well, before Saudi Arabia, you hadn't fought outside of Europe, and you know, us English fans obviously want to see as much of you as possible. So we'd love for your fights to be in the UK, but going for that record and going for that title, you're obviously going to have to be fighting in 12 rounders, and because you're 18, you can't be doing that in Britain at the moment. So does that mean that you're going to be abroad much more? Will we see you fighting away from home?
I don't know. I'll let my managers get up to that. And like Francis could not say that after every fight I said I need to step up, I need a better opponent, and he just laughs at him and he's like, we'll get a better opponent. But like I said, I just want to be in big fights. I want to be in entertaining fights as well, because that's what boxing is at the end of the day. Like amateur boxing is a sport. Professional boxing is a business and it's entertainment. So obviously I want to be in good fights so people would look back and say like, wow, that's like, I lived through his era, do you get what I mean? So yeah, I just want to be in big fights and big step-ups. Obviously Mike Tyson had a lot of fights with low quality. I just want less fights with higher quality, if you get what I mean. So yeah, obviously the media kind of stitched me up with obviously what I said about the English champion, but it is what it is, isn't it? Like I'd get that fight sorted as well. Like I would 100% fight him. Yep. And every day is a learning day. In
terms of, you've obviously got these, well, you're wanting these big fights, but you have already been on big stages, out in Saudi Arabia being one of them. That was an unbelievable event. What was it like kind of taking that all in? Because that's the first time you've been on a stage like that, and being so young, how did you take it all in?
I didn't, you know, and it's like when I talk to Francis, my manager, he's always saying like, you don't need to take it in as long as you're getting the job done. You can obviously when your career's done and dealt, you can look back and then be like, I've done this, I've done that. But as of when you're in Saudi Arabia, people don't realize like the whole week you're there, you have to realize you're fighting on Saturday, and it could be a make or break fight for some fighters, and obviously I've never really like shying away from pressure. Obviously, as an amateur, what I achieved, and even going into competitions, people obviously had high expectations, and I love that. I said put pressure on me because obviously that's what makes diamonds. But yeah, Saudi Arabia was a huge experience. I didn't get to take it all in, but I look back at the photos, I'm like, wow, that's good.
Relive it through the photographs.
Literally. That's why everyone sees me always on my phone taking videos and that, because when I'm there, the whole week I'm there, I'm just in the zone. And obviously, when after the fight, when you're relaxed and that, you can be like, oh shit, I've done this, I've done that. Do you know what I mean?
Looking back on it all. You said there about pressure makes diamonds. Now, everyone is saying that you're going to be the new Anthony Joshua and the golden boy of British boxing when AJ hangs up his gloves. What do you make of those comments?
I respect AJ. If you see a lot of my career is with his as well. Like I learned from him, and one of the fighters I used to watch growing up, maybe not so in the ring, but outside of the ring, was Anthony Joshua. And even before I turned pro, he probably won't even remember this, that my brother Carol was sparring Richard Riakporhe in Loughborough, and he was training with Angel Fernandez at the time. And I've asked his cousin if I can have a sit down and talk, because obviously I'll go by the saying, never take advice of people you don't want to swap shoes with. And obviously Anthony Joshua, I wouldn't mind swapping shoes with him. And we sat down and we literally spoke for like a good 30 minutes to an hour about what's the best move in my career. And yeah, like I said, I do appreciate him a lot, but Anthony Joshua started boxing at 18. Look what I'm doing already at 18. Like, I'm already a two-time national champion, 3-time European gold, a world gold, and obviously turnover with Frank Warren. I've already got 7 fights under my belt in my first year, and now I'm 18. Whereas Anthony Joshua would have started boxing at this time. So, listen, by the time I'm his age, I want to be done and dealt with.
That's what I was going to ask you. You have such high ambitions and such goals, you know, breaking Mike Tyson's record. You said, you know, beating everything that Anthony Joshua has done. How do you stay motivated beyond that? Is it a case you want to box until you're 40, or you want to be done by 25?
It's not motivation, it's discipline, if I'll be honest with you, because motivation is not always going to be there. Sometimes, like, when I have a nap and I wake up from that nap and I'm like, I've got training, I just want to go back to sleep. But I'm like, no, I've got to get it. Like, you're not always going to be motivated. Like, people got this wrong perception of motivation. It's about discipline. Discipline is what gonna get you through your tough times. Obviously, people are questioning a lot of Daniel Dubois' heart, but it's not motivation. It's nothing to do with motivation. It's all about discipline, and that's what's gonna take you through this. But I just want to leave the sport of boxing with a lot of money and my brains. I went running yesterday with the boys, and we was just thinking, how much money is enough money? Like, to knock it on the head.
How much money is enough money?
How much money is is enough money? And I guess you'll never know until you got that money. Yeah. But some of these fighters, I do believe they're way boxing past their best. Like, I believe if you've obviously had a few good paydays in your career, why would you risk taking that punishment? Well, listen, I can't speak for anyone's behalf.
So we're not going to see you boxing when you're in your late 30s, 40s?
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Hopefully I'm smart with my money. I've made good investment that I ain't got to keep fighting. But yeah, that's what it is, literally. As of right now, it's just getting my career on the move, if you can say, and obviously get some good fights underneath my belt, and then I'll make my brother Stevie my financial advisor, and he can. You're
gonna trust him with all the money.
Hopefully, and obviously make smart investments, because, like I said, professional boxing is a business.
You've become so popular within the UK, especially, of everyone getting behind you. What's that been like in terms of the change of your life now? Because you're doing things like this, sitting down, having interviews, people wanting photos.
It's a lot different from the amateurs, but like I said, if I don't like this, I can go and get a job somewhere else, and which is going to be 10 times harder for the even more less praise, if that makes sense. Yeah. So listen, like, it all comes with a job, and I like talking to fans. Like, obviously, I like talking to everybody, because you can't not, like Mike Tyson said, you can't not learn from someone. Like, everyone's got a story to tell. Everybody's made a mistake which you can learn from, and I believe that's what I like to live by. Obviously, some people have to chew your ear off, but you just nod, smile and wave, but smile and wave.
So to finish now, what is next for you? I mean, that people are talking about potentially seeing you on the Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk undercard. We know that you want to keep super active. Could we see you on that?
I hope I'm on it. Like I said, I don't know anything solid. Like, it's just my manager, Francis, will ring me, do you want to fight? Yes. And then we go. So as of right now, I don't know what's the next step, but I just know I want to be fighting. Obviously, I didn't get my 8 fights this year, but hopefully next year I'll do. It's not in my reach. Listen, I'm trying my best with everything, and hopefully next year be in some big fights.
Nice. So you're always ready. That's what we like to hear.
100%.
Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.